What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 17 of the 2026 MLB Team Preview Series, hosted by the Bat Boy, presented to you today by Sunday Swagger, the second sponsor of this channel. I'm going to post their stuff right here. They got awesome shirts, awesome quarter zips, hats. It's very golf focused. However, if you work in a business, very casual environment, you can wear these clothes to work as well, but it does have a golf focus to it. They got stuff for men, they got stuff for women, they got stuff for kids, they got everything you could think of when it comes to golf attire. So go check them out. There is no promo code. The code is embedded within the link. So down below, follow the link and get 15% off. Let's get into the Chicago Cubs. 2025, they went 92-70, finishing second in the NL Central behind the number one seed Milwaukee Brewers. It was their first playoff appearance since 2020. And I think you guys know how I feel about 2020. So it's their first playoff appearance since 2018. After winning a very dramatic World Series in 2016, the Cubs have been subpar, to say the very least. We lost Game 5 of the NLDS last year to Milwaukee after beating San Diego in the wild card round. So I would say a successful season. They lost to the number one seed in the division series and ultimately made some big moves in the offseason. They lost Kyle Tucker, which is a big loss. However, as I get into these transactions, it's a long list, so bear with me. They added third baseman Alex Bregman, starting pitchers Edward Cabrera in a trade from the Marlins, and Shota Imanaga, who accepted the qualifying offer by the Cubs. And they signed a myriad of relievers. Hunter Harvey, Phil Matan, Caleb Thielbar, Shelby Miller, Hobie Milner, and Jacob Webb. And they also signed first baseman Tyler Austin, who got hurt. But we'll get into that in a minute. In addition to losing Kyle Tucker, they also lost a conglomerate of relievers. Andrew Kittredge was traded to Baltimore. They lost Brad Keller, Drew Pomeranz, Taylor Rogers, Eli Morgan, and Ryan Brazier. They also lost Willie Castro, utility player, as well as Owen Casey was traded to Miami in the Edward Cabrera deal. And they lost starting pitcher Aaron Savali and Mike Soroka. Sorry, I almost missed them. A lot of moves. I don't really know. I think the Alex Bregman addition is going to offset the Kyle Tucker loss more than people think. I think those two are a lot closer than people realize. So I don't think losing Kyle Tucker is going to be a huge blow thanks to the signing of Alex Bregman. I think Edward Cabrera is going to make a huge difference. Getting Imanaga back is big, and I think their bullpen is set up for very good success with all of the signings that they made there. Spring training. Start off with a couple injuries. Starting pitcher Justin Steele had Tommy John surgery in... Actually, I don't think it was actually Tommy John. I think it was just some other form of elbow surgery. But back in April of 2025, there's no timetable for his return. However, should he come back, this starting rotation is going to look ridiculously nasty. But we'll get into that in a minute. First baseman Tyler Austin, who they signed out of... I believe he was playing in Korea, but he had knee surgery in February. There's no timetable for his return. He kind of rejuvenated his career overseas after not doing too well, coming up with the Yankees in the late 20-teens. He notoriously went back-to-back with Aaron Judge in each of their first Major League at-bats back in 2016, and then it's been an astronomical rise for Judge and an astronomical drop for Tyler Austin. But he did rejuvenate his career overseas, and we'll see when he comes back if he can translate that to the U.S. They also signed Shelby Miller, the reliever who was coming off Tommy John in October. Now he'll be out for 2026, but he should be back for next year. Justin Steele, previously mentioned, he was, I would say, one of the most consistent pitchers in Major League Baseball from 22 to 24 before hurting his elbow. If he comes back and returns to any sort of resemblance of that form, this is going to be one of the best rotations in the sport. He had ERA plus of 132, 139, and 130 in those 3 seasons. Cy Young votes. He was really, really good. Elbow injury obviously derailed. 2025. Not sure when he's going to come back in 26. It's usually, if he had the surgery in April, I would expect he'd be back by June, given no setbacks in his recovery. But if he can get back to anything remotely close to that form, we got a rotation of Justin Steele, Matthew Boyd, who's pitching for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Edward Cabrera. Cade Horton, coming off of a huge rookie year. Shota Imanaga and Jameson Taillon. That is a solid group of 6. Edward Cabrera was a huge add in this offseason. He had his best season by far last year, eclipsing 100 innings for the first time, having a 3.53 ERA and 26 starts, 1.25 ERA plus. Very, very good. I'm really excited to see what he can do now that he's been unleashed for a full season's worth of work. Cade Horton is another one, a Rookie of the Year runner-up in 2025. He was outstanding for the Cubs last year, 2.67 ERA in 22 games. How is he going to bounce back in his sophomore season? He had a 1.44 ERA plus. There is just nothing you can say negatively about this gentleman. He was outstanding in 2025. I want to see what he can do in 2026. See if he can follow up. There's usually a sophomore slump. That's a very common thing in this sport. You come up, hitters don't have a whole lot of information about you. They don't know a whole lot of your tendencies, things like that. You can catch some of them off guard. They get an off season to prep. Pitching coaches or hitting coaches have an off season of outings to look at to develop game plans against you. Sophomore slumps is a real thing. I want to see how we can fight against that. Jameson Taillon, is he the odd man out? When Steele gets back, most likely, obviously there could be injuries. Injuries play a big role in using the depth that you have. So I would definitely recommend not getting rid of one. I know they're not going to, but as of right now, they have Boyd, Cabrera, Horton, Imanaga, Taillon. When Steele comes back, I'm sure he's going to kick Taillon out of the rotation. Not sure if he's going to have some kind of innings cap. I'm sure that'll all play itself out. The Alex Bregman signing had ripple effects on the rest of the infield. What are they going to do with Matt Shaw? I was fully convinced they were going to trade Nico Hoerner this offseason. They didn't. I think it's probably a good thing that they didn't, to be honest. Because, like we mentioned with the pitchers, having depth and having injury insurance is a luxury. But this is a guy that you don't want sitting on the bench. He had a 3.1 WAR in 2025 in his rookie season. He did hit 226, but OPS plus was relatively league average at 98. 13 home runs and 18 stolen bases in essentially half of a season's worth of at-bats. So we were kind of looking forward to seeing him get unlocked this year. But the Alec Bregman signing seems like that might prevent that from happening because you got Bregman at third. You have Nico Hoerner at second. You got Dansby Swanson at short. You got Michael Busch at first. Where is Matt Shaw going to play? We could put him at DH. The next thing I'm watching in spring training, Moises Ballesteros, who is projected to be the DH. His 2025 was dominant every which way. He came up, played 20 games with the big league club, hit 298 with 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, and had 114 games in the minor leagues in 2025 at 316 with 13 home runs, 76 RBIs. He's striking out pretty close to a 1-to-1. Strikeout to walk rate is pretty much 1-to-1, so he's got good discipline. He is, however, lefty, as opposed to Shaw being righty. And I can see them doing a platoon at DH. But we'll talk about that in a little bit, because that's part of my position battle chatter. But I can see that happening. I can see Matt Shaw also being a trade piece. I can also see Nico Hoerner being a trade piece. I can see this season going disastrously bad and they trade them all. I don't know. I can see a lot of different directions that this can go. But I think Matt Shaw currently is the odd man out, and that's not really a guy you want to be the odd man out because he's really good. I also want to talk a little bit about the Michael Conforto ad. He signed a minor league contract. He was once a mainstay in the Mets offense, and since 2021, he's struggled a bit. He's had some injuries. He's bounced around different cities. He was very consistent for the Mets for a good 7 years in a row of having a 115 to 125 OPS plus. Just a really good outfielder. If he can be healthy, if he can get back to somewhat of a normal Michael Conforto, this team is going to look a lot different. That is a huge piece for this outfield if he can be good. In 2024, he had a 115 OPS plus with San Francisco, hitting 20 home runs in 130 games in that ballpark. Now you move him to Wrigley, which is a little more hitter-friendly. I can see this being a great spot for Conforto and this being huge in the direction in which this team takes. So I'll go watch him in minor leagues, see if he makes a roster, see if it's Michael Conforto with the Mets or if it's Michael Conforto with the Dodgers last year, which was atrocious. Position battles. Let's start with the DH. I had them second, but since I already brought them up, I'll start with the DH. Moises Ballesteros and Matt Shaw seem to be the guys that are going to utilize this spot the most. I think Ballesteros is probably going to get the most run because he's a lefty and a lot of pitchers are righty. I can see this being a true platoon DH situation, which isn't common. Most teams have a designated hitter. Most teams have a guy that they have for that DH spot, which provides just power. You think of the Kyle Schwarbers, you think of Yordan Alvarez, you think of Giancarlo Stanton, people like that. It's not generally used as a platoon spot, but when you have Matt Shaw and Moises Ballesteros that need to get at bats, that's what we're looking at. I see it as a true platoon because Matt Shaw, being the right-handed hitter, has a 132 TOPS plus against lefties. TOPS plus basically takes your OPS plus, and rather than pinning it against the league average, it pins against your own average. So he is 32% better against left-handed pitching than he is against all pitching. Moises Ballesteros, similarly, only had 4 plate appearances against lefties in 2025. So that's a small sample size. His OPS plus is 102. However, going back to his 2025 in the minors, he had a 346 average with 15 home runs and 79 RBIs in 364 bats against righties as a left-handed hitter. And he hit 230 against lefties. So there is obviously a strength there facing the right-handed pitching. So I can see right-handed pitching brings out Ballesteros, left-handed pitching brings out Matt Shaw. That's my guess for now, unless one of them gets traded. Catcher, also, I hope. I don't think there's going to be a true battle. I think it's Carson Kelly's job, but I hope there's a battle. I think Miguel Amaya is better than he gets credit for. I think he should have an opportunity. He's defensively efficient. I personally think he's a better hitter metric-wise. I think Carson Kelly has a little bit more power, but I think Miguel Amaya is a better hitter in general. Carson Kelly is very clearly the better defensive catcher. He caught 34% of his base runners in 2025, only had 4 pass balls and 865 innings. He's very, very good defensively. Miguel Amaya is also no slouch. In 229 innings in 2025, he did not allow a single pass ball, and he threw out 25% of his base runners. He is solid too. The more research I did, the more I realized how similar they are as a player. They're each projected to have over 300 at-bats, so it kind of seems like an even battle, but obviously those are projections. They're both right-handed hitters, so we can't see a platoon situation here. I don't know. Carson Kelly is the guy right now. I think they would benefit a little bit from having Amaya, but that could just be me spewing nothing. I do have Miguel Amaya on my fantasy team, so I would like to see him get a little more at-bats. But it's hard to judge. I think they're very similar. But it seems like it's an open battle because they're each projected to get similar amounts of at-bats. Player focus time. I was thinking about going Bregman, but I didn't really want to do that because I wanted to highlight Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA. He had a big-time breakout in 2025. Big-time breakout in 2025. Ninth in the MVP voting. Won the Gold Glove. Was an all-star. Had a 118 OPS plus, but his WAR was 6 because of his dominant and electrically dominant defense. He is electric out there in center field. He is so good. He's a highlight every single night. He hit 247. That could use a little bit of work, but he had a 30-30 season. 31 home runs, 35 stolen bases. He's got to work on his chasing of pitches. He swings and misses a lot. You only walk 29 times, so I would like to see you get on base more. I would like to see you utilize that speed. The lineup, I think, got beefed up a little bit. I would like to see you get on base more frequently and just cause havoc to the opposing pitchers. Obviously, that takes work, but we've seen a lot of people do that. So I'd like to see him show a little more discipline. See some more pitches. Find your pitch. Hit your pitch when you get it. And take the other ones, get on base one way or another. Use that speed. 2026 outlook. This one was tough. This one was tough. Ultimately, I think this team is going to beat the Brewers and win the NL Central. I haven't hit the Brewers yet because they are projected to finish higher. I think the Cubs win this division. I know there's a lot of buzz around Milwaukee, and they're coming up very soon. I think they are going to be early next week. Actually, yeah, early next week. So check that one out. But ultimately, I think the Cubs are going to be a better team. I just think they're going to be too steady. I think their rotation is better. Frankly, I think their lineup is better. I think their depth is better. Their bullpen is not as good, but I think they're good enough to get it done. I think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to win the division relatively handily. If I had to wager a guess, I would say I'd put the over-under at winning the division by 4.5 games, and I think I might take the over. I think they're going to win this division by about 5 or 6 games, personally. That's all I got. Lastly, give a shout out to W Energy, the initial sponsor of this channel. I currently have the sherbet, retro sherbet, energy blend. I also have the grapefruit citrus hydration blend, both excellent. They have some of the best hats I've ever bought online, so go check them out also. Link is down below. Use promo code BATBOY, get 10% off. Go check them out. Tomorrow we are out with the Houston Astros, so check that one out. Today, World Baseball Classic is fully underway, with Australia beating Taiwan, as well as Korea beating Czechia. I don't really know how to say that one. World Baseball Classic is fully underway, so check that out. I got an episode previewing that, so I would also go check that one out to get ready as USA takes the field for the very first time tomorrow at 8 p.m. against Brazil, I believe. I'm pretty sure they play Brazil first. And that one's going to be, I think they said Matthew Boyd is pitching that one. I don't know, I have to double check. I think it's Matthew Boyd, but I'm not 100%. Go check that out. Check out all the other videos I got. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, do all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys tomorrow.